All right, we are back. I hope you've been able to create some JSON for yourself to describe yourself a little bit. Now we're going to work with it, and this will be a great tool to add to your skill set, working with JSON. So here we have some methods. We're first going to work with the JSON.load method. Then we'll talk about loads, dumps, and I'll show you another way to print to print dictionaries that's easily viewable. So first of all, let's do load. We're going to copy this here, and it's a way to read JSON from a file into a Python dictionary. Remember, we have to have import JSON at the top of our script. I've got the name of the JSON file, data.json, and I have that saved here. And we're going to open the file as a file. That's the name of this file object. We're going to create a variable called data and then load the JSON data from our file, and then we'll print the data. So let's try that. Okay, we see it printed our data. Now let's also do type. Let's print the type of data. Let's save that and run it again. We'll see that it's a dictionary. It's of class dict, which is a dictionary. So I wanted to highlight that. We bring it in from JSON. It turns it into a dict. So also you'll notice our variables, our Boolean variables, were lowercase in JSON. Well, in our dictionary, the JSON module has taken care of converting them to uppercase for us so that it is proper Python syntax. So our JSON module does that behind the scenes. So that is the load method. Again, from a JSON file or file-like object to a Python dictionary. We can also load S, remember, think S for string, from a JSON formatted string to a Python dictionary. So let's bring that over here into our script. And all that is meant by JSON formatted string is essentially JSON encapsulated by quotations within our Python script. So here's a JSON string. See, we have triple quotes, and that denotes a multi-line string in Python. I'm going to copy all of my JSON there, except for, no, that is perfect. So that should work. Let's save that. And then what we're going to do is load it from a string and then print the data. So we could have a JSON string here. So let's clear and let's try running this again. There we go. So we get the same output. It's a dictionary again, just a Python representation of our JSON. So that's loading from a string, from a JSON string. Now, thirdly, let's do JSON.dump. And this is for a dictionary, a Python dictionary to a file. So we're going to put this right here. And we need to represent our data. So this is going to be a dictionary. So I'm going to copy the contents of this here. I'm going to hit enter so it's a little cleaner to read. Paste it in. And I need to change these variables because I want it to be a Python dictionary, not JSON anymore. So I'm capitalizing these. And then what I'll do is I'll just name it data2.json so we can see this in action. So I'm saving that, and what this will do is it will take our Python dictionary and open a data2.json file. As file, that's our variable name, and then it will dump our dictionary into a JSON format with an indent of four spaces for each of these indentation levels. That makes it a little more readable. So let's make sure our file is saved. And I'm going to do an ls and show you we just have these two files present in our current directory. But if we run our script, we see nothing. I've not printed out anything here, but it should have created this data2.json file. So if I list ls again, we do see a data2.json file. And if I open that up, we see there's the data that it's written. And it's written into JSON. You can see one easy way to tell is these Booleans, as I've mentioned. They're all lowercase now, but in my Python, they are capitalized. So the JSON module takes care of that for us. I've just opened this with the Vim text editor, which is an easy way on Mac and Linux to view files that I really like. So that takes care of our dump method, which goes from a Python dictionary to a file. Let's now look at our json.dump_s. Remember, when you see that s, think string. So it's from a Python dictionary to a JSON formatted string. So we'll keep it within our Python program. I already have my data variable, and I'm just going to clean this up a little bit to highlight what we're doing. There we go. So we have our data dictionary still. It's Python dictionary. What we're doing is we are dumping it to a JSON string. And we are also setting that indent to 4. We could also set other values, as I've mentioned, such as, going back to our slides, we could sort the keys in sorted format if we want. And we can change the kind of separators that are used, such as colons, commas. So there are some attributes we can change if we so desire. I just wanted to point that out. But all we're going to do here is indent 4 to make it readable, and then we'll print that string. I want to also show you what happens if we don't use indent 4. So let's save it, clear our screen, and run our program. So there we go. There's our JSON. And so that's just from a Python dictionary to a JSON formatted string. So if we actually print the type of this JSON string variable, let's see what happens. I'll run that again. We see it's a string now. That's what our resultant JSON string is. What we can also do is, let's remove this indent 4 and run that again. So we see it's less human readable now. So that indent 4 is very useful when we're working with dumping our data or putting it into JSON format. Now, lastly, another way I just thought would be interesting to you to view our dictionaries in Python is a module called pprint or prettyprint. And JSON is one way that we can view a dictionary in a pretty format or a viewable format by dumping it to JSON and having this indent equal 4 spaces, as we just saw. But we can also use something, if we don't want to do that, called prettyprint. So I'm going to import prettyprint in my script up at the top as well. And then we can just do prettyprint or pprint.pprint. We're calling the pprint method from our preprint module. And let's just replace that here. So we're just wanting to print this dictionary. Now let's see what that does. I've saved the file. Let's run it. So we see it pretty prints it out as well. It's a little bit easier to read with our keys here on the left, and then all of our values following. So that's our project. Now you have equipped in your tool set being able to work with JSON in Python. So I hope that was useful to you. I know it will be. I know it will come in handy for you, and we'll see you in the next lecture.